If you are feeling overwhelmed by all the work that goes into learning a language, the vocabulary, the conjugations, the grammar rules, then it's time you started working smarter and not harder. I know that you want to get conversational as quickly as possible, so in today's video I'm sharing some little tips that are going to help you learn thousands of Portuguese words without hours and hours of study. If you're new to the channel, seja bem-vindo. My name is Liz and I help people who are relocating or retiring to Portugal to get confident and conversational in Portuguese. I work with hundreds of students inside my Portuguese Pro program, taking them from saying their very first words right up to having their first conversation. So if that is something that you want to achieve, head to the description. The link to my free taster lesson is in there. So how is it possible to learn Portuguese vocabulary quickly? Well, you need to pay attention to the words in English and Portuguese that derive from the same word, making them very, very similar to one another. In linguistics, we call these cognates. Let's take a look at an example and I will show you what I mean. The word sensation in English derives from the Latin word sensus, and so does the Portuguese word for sensation. So how can I get from the English to the Portuguese? Well, there is a clue. Words ending in shin in English will end in são in Portuguese. So I can take off the shin, add the são, and be left with sensação, the word for sensation in Portuguese. Once you've done this once, you will realize it works for so many words. Let's take a look at a few more. Nation, nação, education, educação, transformation, transformação, situation, situação, participation, participação. To say these correctly, you will need to practice the nasal sound in Portuguese. I have a full video on that here, which you can check out next, and I also cover it in my free pronunciation guide, which covers 7 of the most difficult sounds in Portuguese with audio. So you need to go and download that if you want to sound like a local. The link will be in the description. So what other endings can we replace to get to the Portuguese word? Well, words ending in ty in English will end in dad in Portuguese. And here are a few examples. City, cidade. Liberty, liberdade. Reality, realidade. Masculinity, masculinidade. Capacity, capacidade. See how easy it is when you know how? So what about words ending in ly in English? Well, we can swap that for a mente in Portuguese. But be careful. I want you to remember that words ending in e in Portuguese, they have a closed e. So when people see a word ending in mente in Portuguese, they want to say mente, okay, as if it was Spanish, but it's not. So instead we need to close down the sound of that e. It actually sounds like this. In the throat. So watch out, we want to pronounce this mente. So here are some examples. Frequently, frequentemente. Absolutely, absolutamente. Naturally, naturalmente. Completely, completamente. Totally, totalmente. Fourth and finally, this one is so useful because so many people think that they know this one, but they are actually thinking in Spanish once again. It's the ending able, like the word admirable. Now, in Spanish, this word would stay more or less the same, admirable, but in Portuguese, we are going to swap the able for ável and put an accent on the A to make sure that we are stressing it correctly. I have lots more videos on the difference between Spanish and Portuguese that you need to check out if you actually want to sound Portuguese when you are here. Trust me, it will not go down well if you are speaking Spanish or even with a Spanish accent. So let's take a look at some examples of that. Admirable, admirável, sustainable, sustentável. Inevitable, inevitável. Variable, variável. Considerable, considerável. There are so many ways that we can work smarter and not harder when it comes to learning Portuguese. It doesn't have to be a punishment, it can actually be good fun. So I share lots of time-saving tips just like this one in my hour-long free lesson for beginners. So if you enjoyed this, please head to the description and click the link to register for that session. I would love to see you there. I'll be back next week with more tips and tutorials to improve your confidence and conversation skills in Portuguese, so I hope to see you there. Ciao for now.